It is now done. Mohammed Kudus joins Tottenham Hotspur. David Ornstein dropped the bomber just now. Exclusive: Tottenham Hotspur reached total agreement with West Ham United to sign Mohammed Kudus. Deal for 24-year-old West Ham forward worth in the region of 55 million. Medical scheduled tomorrow ahead of Ghana International joining Tottenham on a 6-year deal. Romano then confirmed this 2 minutes later. The Kudus to Tottenham, here we go. A deal is in place for 55 million from West Ham. Kudus only wanted Tottenham. He will now sign a 6-year contract at Tottenham, confirming what David Ornstein had said. And I have to say, 55 million, when you look at the market right now, is not a bad bit of business. Madueke is going to go for the same fee, Alanga going for the same fee. And I know Kudus was underwhelming last season at West Ham, but this time last year, there was talk of Kudus being around 80 million because in 23-24 season, I think he got 28 goal contributions. And I honestly think if there's a manager to turn Kudus into the player we saw in his first season at West Ham, to unlock Kudus, to make him lethal, it is Thomas Frank. He's going to have that Mbeumo role. We've seen what Thomas Frank's done with Mbeumo. We've seen, the role that Kudus will likely have at Tottenham. And he could be a bit of a cheat code at Tottenham. So we're going to talk about Kudus, and I'm going to give you my opinions as sort of a Manchester United fan, but someone that is a big admirer of Thomas Frank. And, Mohammed Kudus used to literally get me off my feet applauding for him, in his first season at West Ham, some of the dribbles he made. I'm going to give you my honest opinion on this deal. Do I think it will be a good signing or not? How do I think he will fit in? But I honestly think, first of all, 55 million when you look at the market, considering last year I was doing videos talking about potential Salah replacements and Kudus was in that category and he was being quoted at 80 million. Yes, he's had a bad season. Yes, his value's gone down. But I think when you look at the market right now, Gitten's 55 million, 1 goal in the last 6 months, Prem proven, rival club that didn't want to sell to you, 55 million for Kudus is not bad. Look, he may flop. There's players that Tottenham fans get excited about, Man United fans get excited about. We think it's the next big signing, and they come to our clubs, and they flop. We've had it with Sancho. You had it with Ndombele. A player that you get excited about. This is a player to be excited about. This is a player that is capable of getting you off your feet. Do you know what I mean? And clapping for him. Like, he's capable of producing those kind of moments. So let's talk about Kudus. And what I mean by he's a player that's capable of getting you off your feet is Brennan Johnson's, definitely overhated and got way too much stick last season. And Brennan Johnson's got very good output. But Brennan Johnson, he'll get on the back post, he'll row at the right time, he'll score a goal, and he's productive. But Brennan Johnson's not the type of guy to get the ball, dribble around 3-4 players, and do something amazing where you're literally like, you're off your feet and you're applauding. Mohammed Kudus is the kind of player that even if he doesn't score, even doesn't get an assist, he's the type of guy that could produce something in a game. Not all the time, there's inconsistencies there, that could just get you off your feet. You could just be like, wow. It'd be like Eden Hazard could. And I'm not comparing the two, but I'm saying Mohammed Kudus is statistically the best dribbler in the Premier League. He's the only player to complete over 200 dribbles since the start of last season. He's completed 216. And I do think this could be a game-changing signing for Tottenham. I think it's good business. I think it's a decent fee. And I'm talking about how Thomas Frank could unlock Kudus. That's what I want to talk about. So this was what I wrote the other day, that Tottenham are closing in on the signing of Kudus. I said, though his output dipped slightly last season, the 24-year-old remains one of the most gifted dribblers and explosive attackers in Europe. And under new manager Thomas Frank, Kudus could finally find the right tactical environment to reach his full potential. So this is exactly what I want to talk about in more detail. So first of all, Frank's system relies on vertically intelligent pressing and quick transitions. He needs good ball carriers, he needs wingers that like to come inside, he needs wingers that like to use their body in duels and can use their body in duels and protect the ball well and come on the inside and come in more tight spaces, carry the ball, and Kudus does that. As a ball carrier, as a dribbler, you're not going to find a better player than Kudus. He's better than Mbeumo at dribbling. Mbeumo is very good though. He's very good in half spaces. He's very good at getting the ball under pressure. He's very good at holding off defenders. He's very good at carrying the ball. He's very good at dribbling. That's what he's very good at. And he's likely, under Thomas Frank, to play on the right side as a right-sided 10. There's 2 ways you can use wingers. Ange likes to use touchline wingers. Maresca likes to use touchline wingers. And they're wingers that hold the width and they go on the touchline and they stay wide and the goal is to stretch opposition's defence. A touchline winger is Jamie Gittins of Chelsea. Garnacho with Manchester United. A touchline winger is someone that does their best work out wide, holding the touchline. There's other types of wingers, like Michael Elise, like Cole Palmer, who almost do better as inside forwards because they're a mix of a 10 and a winger. Cole Palmer's recently playing as a 10. And Kudus is a bit like that. And he very much suits what Thomas Frank does because he wants his wingers in the half space. I think Tell very much suits that a lot more than Angeball. And Kulusevski, who's definitely better as a 10, could suit playing on the right more under Thomas Frank. He likes the ball as an inverted right winger on the right side, and if Thomas Frank uses Kudus the same way he uses Mbumo, it very much tactically the environment suits Kudus' strengths more. Whereas I think obviously Lopetegui and Graham Potter, the way they use Kudus, yes, he dropped off in form, yes, Kudus' attitude could have been definitely better, but it wasn't the right environment and tactical environment to get the best out of Kudus. Whereas I feel like Thomas Frank has the right tactical environment to get the best out of Kudus. And if you look, Kudus could be the next Ndombele, the next Sancho, or he could be the next big signing for Tottenham, the next guy that you're like, wow, what a bit of business, the next Gareth Bale. You just don't know. It's a risk. But I think if there's a manager to get Kudus, get the Kudus that we know, get the Kudus that we know is in there, the Kudus we saw in his first season at West Ham, the Kudus we saw at Ajax, to his best, it's Thomas Frank. Look at what he's done with Mbumo, Visser, Tony. Do you know what I mean? I think Kudus could cook. And look, he's definitely an upgrade. He's an upgrade on Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson is very good at end product, very good at making runs, probably a harder worker, very good movement output, but Brennan Johnson doesn't get the ball. And this is no disrespect to Brennan Johnson, I think he's underrated. But he doesn't get the ball and take on people and dribble and make loads happen. Whereas Kudus is the kind of guy that's going to get the ball, going to dribble at people, going to make things happen as a 1v1 specialist, and he's going to suit that role. Whereas Brennan Johnson, he can dribble, can put in a good cross, he does put in some good crosses, good at arriving at the back post. But he's not someone that can get the ball and be a bit unpredictable and dribble around a few players and hold the ball in tight spaces and hold off defenders and pull off some tricks that Kudus can do. Do you know what I mean? Kudus can take on markers, he can draw fouls, he's good against low blocks. Brennan Johnson's probably very good in transition. Brennan Johnson's very good at arriving at the post late, being a nuisance for defenders, and I think he would work well with Kudus. You could actually play them both together. But Kudus is someone that he can take on his players, he can get you off your feet, he can make you excited, he can create something out of nothing. He's a one-on-one specialist, and he brings something special there. And there's talk of Tottenham looking at Visser, and I actually did record a video, and I was about to post it, and then this news came out about Tottenham's interest in Visser and how Visser and Kudus could transform Tottenham's attack. But then because Kudus has just been signed, I was like, well, I might as well do this video now and do that video tomorrow. So do subscribe, because tomorrow, if I get time, there's going to be a video on how Visser, Kudus, Solanke, Tell, what Tottenham's attacking options could be next season. Because I do think there's talk of Son leaving at the end of pre-season once he's done the touring career. There's talk of Richarlison going, but I do think Kudus, Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, Maddison, Solanke, Visser, Tell, Odebear, Mikey Moore, potentially Yang in there. Tottenham do have some good attacking options next season, and when you think of Thomas Frank being able to get the best out of his attackers and proving at that's a big thing for Tottenham. Continuing on, so I keep talking about Kudus. Oh, we can get you off for free. Kudus is a good dribbler, this and that. But let's actually give you the numbers. Let's actually give you the statistics, give you the insight on this. Kudus averages 3.4 progressive carries and nearly 4 successful take-ons per 90. Okay, that's insane stats. He uses his frame well. He's got that little bit of provenness in the Premier League. He can deal with the physicality of the Premier League. He can shield possession. That's what Mbumo can do. That's what Thomas Frank likes. He can switch direction. He can burst into space. And yeah, that's what he's good at. He fits a counter-attacking setup very well, but he's also able to perform against low blocks because of the way he uses his body. But the Spurs do want to counter because Thomas Frank will like to counter at times. He will like to move quick from defence to attack. Kudus has got the energy and the ball carrying in his locker to go and drive up the pitch. If we look at other statistics that I found online in regards to Mohammed Kudus, let me get this on my screen. We can see Kudus averaged 2.6 shots and 3.7 shot creating actions per 90, which I think would improve at Tottenham playing in a more attacking based team with better players around him. He scored 18 goals and provided 10 assists in all comps in 23-24. So that's mad output. Didn't do so well last season. Dangerous from wide, dangerous in central zones, good with both feet, unpredictable, skillful. You can use him in many different ways. He's got versatility to play across the front line, but I think he will come in as a right winger, but he can play all across the front line. He's very good and he does his best work when he plays on the right and he can cut in and he can whip in across, or he can strike and he can take people on and he can dribble. That is where he does his best work. that is where he performs best. And if we look at his strengths, and I highlighted his strengths here, he's a world-class dribbler and ball carrier. He can play right wing attacking midfield, centre forward. You could even play him centre mid if you're playing a 4-3-3 as one of the 8. I wouldn't, but you could. He's press resistant, good body control, good balance, good endurance, physical, hard to knock off the ball, match-winning potential. Look, there's attitude issues, there's descent concerns, there's work rate concerns, but I think Thomas Frank is the right manager to deal with that. He's got match-winning potential. He's one of those players that could create something out of nothing to win a match. You know, I said with Arsenal, their biggest problem last season was they kept drawing games because they didn't have someone that could come out of nowhere and just score a winning goal or create a moment to win a game. Odegaard can't do that. But Kai Saka's the only player at Arsenal that could create something out of nothing to win a game or score a goal out of nowhere to win a game. Sometimes I watched Arsenal, it felt like they were never going to score when it was 1-1. They were never going to score to make it 2-1 against the low block. Odegaard doesn't have that in his locker. I was about to say Odegaard. Odegaard doesn't have that in his locker. And I said Arsenal's biggest problem is they lack those moments players. Whereas Bruno Fernandes, Man United will be shy, but Bruno Fernandes can do something out of nothing, like a ball, a shot, something to win a game for United, which is probably why United didn't get relegated. And Kudus has got that ability to do something out of nothing. And that's a good ability to have. He can create those match-winning moments. Look, there's red flags. I'm gonna name the red flags. There's the inconsistencies. There's the 5-match ban versus Spurs. Not always consistent over 90 minutes. Can drift in and out of games. Needs tactical clarity to thrive. You know, there is definitely red flags. But I think with the players available in the market, with the winger market, 55 million, I think it's a smart bet. He's a versatile attacker. It suits Thomas Frank's approach. There was even talk of him rejecting Bayern Munich. I don't know how true that was. Rejected Chelsea. So he shows, despite being at Tottenham, despite being at West Ham, he wants Tottenham. He brings directness, ball retention, unpredictability, which I think sometimes Brennan Johnson can lack. And look at Thomas Frank's record of developing attackers. I think if we see the Kudus we saw in his first season at West Ham, he could be lethal. He could be a cheat code at Tottenham. He really could. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.